Welcome to the deep dive. We've got the source materials you sent over, and our job is to basically dig through them, pull out the really important stuff, and give you the fast track to knowing what's what. Today, we're tackling something a lot of people are curious about: making money on YouTube. Like, how does it actually work? We're going to look past the flashy headlines and get into the real numbers and strategies from your sources.
Exactly. Think of this as cutting through the hype. Our goal here is to really unpack how creator income works on YouTube. We'll look at the figures, the different methods people use, basically give you a clear map of the whole online video money landscape.
All right, let's jump right in then. The first question, probably the one you're thinking of right now, is the biggest one. How much money can YouTubers really make?
Yeah, and the sources are super clear on this. It really, really depends, like massively. The range they mention is actually kind of staggering.
How staggering are we talking?
Well, it goes from maybe someone earning just like $5 a month.
$5. Seriously, that's
Yeah.
barely a cup of coffee.
Right. Barely anything. But then on the other end, you've got creators potentially pulling in $500,000 a month, maybe even more.
Wow. Okay, that's a huge gap. So it's not one simple answer. What makes the difference then, according to the sources?
It comes down to a few key things. Number one, obviously, is how many views your videos get.
Yeah.
But interestingly, it's not just the number of views,
Yep.
where your audience is located, their country. That's huge. Also, the actual topic of your videos, your niche, makes a big difference. And maybe the most critical point the sources stress is having multiple ways of earning money, not just relying on one thing.
Right, diversification. Makes sense. Okay, but let's start where most people think about YouTube money, the ads. That's AdSense, yeah.
As usually is a starting point. Yep.
Yeah.
AdSense. It's the system where YouTube puts ads, before or during your videos. The basic idea is pretty simple.
Look, it's simple.
YouTube shows the ads, people watch them, the advertisers pay YouTube, and then you, the creator, get a slice of that money.
Okay. And the source mentioned a term here, CPM. What's that about?
CPM stands for cost per mil. Mil meaning thousand. So it's basically the amount advertisers pay for 1,000 views of their ad on your content.
Gotcha, per 1,000 views.
And this is where that audience country thing really comes into play. The CPM rates can be wildly different depending on where your viewers are watching from. It's actually fascinating.
Okay, give us an idea. What kind of differences are we talking about based on the source?
Well, if your audience is mostly in, say, India or Egypt, your CPM might be pretty low. Maybe around 50 cents to $1 per 1,000 views.
50 cents?
Yeah.
What?
But if your viewers are mainly in places like the US or the UK or maybe Australia, that CPM could jump way up, like $4, $10, even $20 or more sometimes.
That is a massive difference. Why is it so varied? Did the source explain that part?
It generally points to, how much advertisers are willing to pay to reach certain audiences. It often links back to the perceived purchasing power in those regions or specific campaign goals advertisers have.
And YouTube doesn't just hand over all that CPM money, do they? They take their piece of the pie.
Oh, yeah, definitely. YouTube takes a significant cut. The standard split, according to the source, is 45% for YouTube and 55% goes to the creator.
Okay, 55% for the creator. Let's use the example from the source to make it real. Say a channel gets 100,000 views in a month. And let's assume a decent CPM, maybe $5. What does the creator actually see in their bank account after YouTube's share?
Right. So 100,000 views at a $5 CPM, that generates about $500 in gross ad revenue. You just do the math. 100,000 divided by 1,000 times $5.
Okay, $500 gross.
But then YouTube takes its 45% cut. So the creator actually receives roughly $275 from those 100,000 views.
$275 for 100,000 views. Okay, that really highlights that AdSense on its own. It isn't necessarily the path to riches, especially when you're just starting, right?
Absolutely. The source material is very clear on this. AdSense is, a foundation, maybe a nice little bonus, but usually it's nowhere near enough to be a significant income, let alone a full-time job, particularly for channels that aren't huge yet.
Okay, so if ads aren't the main way to make, substantial money, this is where it gets interesting. How do creators actually scale up? You mentioned multiple income streams. What are those other ways the source talks about?
Right. This is where the whole treating YouTube like a business's idea comes in.
Yeah.
To earn what people might call real money, you generally need to look beyond just the ads playing on your videos. The source lays out about 5 common streams that creators often build.
5 streams. Okay, what's the first one?
First up is sponsorships. This is when a brand pays you directly to mention or feature their product or service in one of your videos.
Ah, the classic, this video is sponsored by moment. We see that everywhere.
Exactly that. And the money here, it varies hugely. A smaller channel might get, say, $100, maybe up to $1,000 for a sponsored spot. But a really big channel, they could be looking at $10,000, $50,000, even $100,000 or more for just one sponsored video.
Wow. Okay, big difference. What's number 2?
Number 2 is affiliate marketing. This is where you promote someone else's product and include a special tracking link. If someone clicks your link and buys the product, you earn a commission.
So, like, if a tech reviewer puts an Amazon link for the camera they're reviewing in the description.
Precisely. If you click that link and buy the camera, the reviewer gets a small percentage of the sale. Amazon Associates is super common, but lots of companies have their own affiliate programs too.
Got it. Okay, what's third?
Third is merchandise. Selling your own stuff.
Hmm.
This could be physical things like t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, or digital products like ebooks, downloadable guides, maybe online courses.
Merch. Right. This feels like something that works better when you've got a really loyal audience, yeah.
Mhm.
People who want to support you directly
Yeah.
or show they're part of your community.
Exactly. The source points out it's great for channels where fans feel a real connection. They want to wear the shirt, use the mug, support the creator.
Makes sense. Okay, fourth income stream.
Fourth is using YouTube's own built-in features for direct fan support. YouTube memberships and super chats. Memberships are like a channel. Subscription fans pay a small amount each month for special badges, emojis, or exclusive content.
Like a Patreon, but inside YouTube.
Kinda, yeah. And super chats are for live streams. Viewers can pay to have their comment highlighted in the chat, basically a donation during a live broadcast. It's direct support from your most engaged viewers.
Okay. And the fifth one, you said the source highlighted this.
Yeah, the fifth one, and the source really emphasizes this is often where the biggest money can be made, is selling your own product or service.
So not just merch, but something more substantial. Like using your channel to find customers for your main business.
Exactly that. If you teach something on your channel, maybe English or guitar, you could sell your own full online course or private lessons. If you're a graphic designer showcasing your work, you could get clients for design projects. A fitness channel selling workout plans. A consultant finding clients. You're using YouTube traffic to fuel your own business.
That seems really powerful. You build trust with the free videos, then offer something more in-depth or personalized that people pay for directly.
Right. It often cuts out the middleman, like YouTube's ad cut or even the brand sponsor, and lets you leverage your expertise and audience directly into revenue. The source suggests this is often the most scalable and potentially profitable route, assuming your niche fits and you actually have a product or service to sell.
Okay, that's a lot of potential income streams. How does this actually look in practice? The source gave some examples of different size channels, right? Let's break those down. What about a smaller channel?
Yeah, so the source sketches out a scenario for a small channel. Let's say 10,000 subscribers, maybe averaging 50,000 views a month.
Okay.
Their AdSense might only bring in around $150 a month, based on our earlier example.
Yeah.
But maybe they managed to land one small sponsorship deal that month for, say, $300. And perhaps they make another $100 from some affiliate links in their descriptions.
So adding that all up.
You're looking at a total of about $550 for the month, which, it's something, especially as a side hustle, but probably not replacing a full-time income for most people.
Right, $550. Okay, let's scale up. What about a medium channel?
Okay, medium channel, maybe 100,000 subscribers now, averaging around 300,000 views per month.
More views, so more ad money, presumably.
Definitely. Their AdSense might be closer to $1,000 a month now, and with a bigger, more engaged audience, they can attract better sponsors. Maybe they're earning $1,500 a month from sponsorships, maybe more. And let's say they've also developed a small digital product like an ebook or a mini course, and that brings in another $1,000.
So the total for that medium channel example.
Added up, you're looking at around $3,500 per month. Now we're getting into territory where it could be a full-time income, depending on where you live and your expenses.
Okay, $3,500. That's starting to sound more significant. Now the big leagues. Channels with, say, over 1 million subscribers, getting millions of views a month.
Right, let's say 1 million plus subscribers, maybe averaging 2 million views a month. Their AdSense alone could be bringing in something like $6,000 a month, maybe more, depending on CPM. But this is where the other streams really explode.
How so?
Sponsorships for channels this size. They can command huge fees. We're talking $10,000, $20,000, sometimes way more for a single sponsored video integration. And if they have their own successful line of merch or popular courses or major brand partnerships, that can easily add another $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 or significantly more each month on top of the ads and basic sponsorships.
So their total monthly income could easily be, what, $25,000,
Sure.
$50,000, even higher?
Absolutely. You can get into those really high figures. The examples in the source really drive home the point. Subscribers are great. They show community size.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the views combined with a smart business strategy that uses those multiple income streams effectively that really generates the big income. You need the views, but you also need to monetize them smartly beyond just running ads.
Okay, so hearing all these numbers, the different strategies. The big question for anyone listening who's maybe thought about this is, can you actually do it? Is becoming a YouTube creator who earns real money a realistic goal?
Well, according to the source material, the answer seems to be yes, it is possible. But, and this is a huge but, it takes a lot of time and consistent effort. It's not quick or easy. The source is very clear that most creators earn very, very little, especially at the beginning.
Right. What are the first hurdles, like just to get ads turned on?
To even be eligible for the YouTube Partner Program, which lets you run AdSense ads, you need to get two main targets. You need at least 1,000 subscribers, and D, you need 4,000 hours of valid public watch time on your videos within the last 12 months.
1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours. How long does that typically take?
The source suggests that for most people putting in consistent effort, hitting those minimums usually takes somewhere between 6 months and a year, sometimes longer.
So definitely not an overnight thing for most people. It sounds like a bit of a grind initially.
It absolutely is. But if you're serious about giving it a shot, the source does offer some actionable advice for increasing your chances. A big one is choosing a specific niche.
Like focusing on one topic.
Exactly. Something you know about or are passionate about, whether it's, I don't know, baking sourdough bread, reviewing vintage synths, teaching coding, something specific that attracts a dedicated audience. Don't try to be everything to everyone.
Okay, pick a niche. What else?
Upload regularly. Consistency is key. The source suggests aiming for maybe 1 or 2 videos a week and really focus on providing value. Are you entertaining people, teaching them something useful, solving a problem? Don't just chase views for the sake of views.
Focus on the audience's needs.
Right. And finally, actively try to build a community. Respond to comments, engage with your viewers, make them feel like part of something.
Yeah.
That connection is vital, especially for things like memberships or selling your own products later on.
Makes sense. That loyalty pays off in multiple ways.
Yeah. So the overall message from the source seems to be, it's tough. It's not easy money by any stretch, but it is a real possibility if you approach it strategically, like a business, and you're prepared for the long haul.
Okay, let's try and wrap this deep dive up then. What are the absolute core takeaways from looking at how to make money on YouTube based on these sources?
I think the main thing is that your income isn't just one number. It really depends on that mix of factors.
Yeah.
How many views you get, where those views come from, what your channel is actually about, and crucially, how many different ways you're actually earning money from it. You can't just rely on ads.
Right, and building that significant income really seems to depend on treating it less like a hobby and more like, well, like building a business around your content.
Yeah.
Using all those different streams.
Exactly. You have to be a creator, yeah, but also kind of an entrepreneur. Thinking about sponsorships, affiliates, maybe your own products,
Yeah.
the whole package.
So if you've been kicking around the idea of starting a YouTube channel, or maybe you've already started but weren't sure how the money side works, hopefully this deep dive gave you a clearer, more realistic picture based on what the sources say.
Yeah, and the source kind of sums up the journey with 4 Ps. Plan, post, practice, and patience. It takes all 4.
Plan, post, practice, patience. I like that. So maybe the final thought for you listening right now is this. If this has got you thinking, what's maybe one tiny actionable step you could take today?
Could it be just brainstorming some niche ideas? Sketching out a concept for a first video? Even just thinking about what unique value you personally could bring to an audience? What's that first little move you could plan or maybe even practice right now?